How can you get a big advantage in your career that puts you in front of every other law student in your year at your university? Well, the answer is to know real commercial legal English that your future employers want from you. I'm going to give you a quick example, and you can use ChatGPT or Google Translate to help you with this. So, you're going to think this isn't legal English. It's not academic legal English. This is from work. What I want you to find out is the name of your country's central bank. That's number one. Mine is the Bank of England. What's yours? And the second thing, which is a bit more difficult, is to find out today what the base rate is at your central bank. The base rate of interest, BASE, base rate. When you've translated that and you know what that percentage is, you're ready for your first true legal English lesson. Right, the shirt I'm wearing here, I looked, is from Turkey. And in fact, a lot of British clothes are made in Turkey. There was a contract between Turkey and England to produce this and thousands of other shirts. Let's keep it easy. Let's say the bill from Turkey to the English customer was £100,000. You are the lawyer in Turkey, and I am the lawyer in England for these two clients. So the Turkish client manufactures these shirts, my client in England buys them. Let's look at one sentence from that contract, and this is a sentence they will not teach you in university, but your employers want. When Turkey sends the shirts to England by ship or by plane, could be either, they issue an invoice. Now, invoice is just another word for bill. What's the difference between a bill and an invoice? Well, in a restaurant, you get the bill, but you cannot ask for 30 days to pay. You have to pay it immediately. An invoice usually gives you a period of credit to pay, 30 days, 60 days. So Turkey issues the invoice to my client in England, and my client agrees in the contract to pay within 30 days. Next word is deadline. The deadline for something is the latest possible day that you can do it. So imagine the deadline for my client to pay Turkey is the 1st of November. It's a Monday. It's not a public holiday, so it's a normal business day. That's what my client agreed to in the contract, to pay within 30 days with a deadline, a final day of the 1st of November. Now, contracts exist because people behave badly. That's the reason for contracts. So the contract anticipates my client either not paying at all or, much more probable, paying late. What do you think the contract will say about my client if my client pays late? Well, now we're coming to base rate and central bank. What the contract says is if my client pays late, my client agrees to pay interest as a penalty on the outstanding sum. Outstanding means not yet paid. It's late. The outstanding sum, we agreed, is £100,000. So my client didn't pay on time and now has to pay interest on that £100,000. How much interest? Well, you might want to say 2% of the total or 5% of the total. But lots of British and American contracts don't do that. What they say is if the buyer, my client, pays late, they agree to pay interest on the outstanding sum at a rate of 2% above the base rate at the seller's bank. Let me repeat that. They will pay interest at 2% above the base rate at the seller's bank. Now, the seller is in Turkey. The seller's bank refers to Turkey's central bank. It doesn't mean HSBC or Monzo or whatever bank the seller has. It's the central bank of Turkey. Whatever the interest rate is, my client will have to pay 2% more than that. Now, the base rate might be 2%, might be 10%, might be 25%. So you have to warn your client, if you're me, that clause, that provision in that contract is a little bit dangerous, because if you pay late, we're not completely sure what the penalty interest will be. We only know it's 2% above the base rate. So this is the type of commercial awareness, the type of English that your employer wants you to have, that university does not teach you. I don't know any university that teaches that English to young lawyers. Maybe Harvard, I don't know. I think they're a lot more practical. So here's your homework. Translate this into your first language. If the buyer pays late, the buyer agrees to pay interest on the outstanding amount at a rate of 2% above the base rate at the seller's bank. That's legal English. If you have a legal English teacher who's giving you 8 great verbs to use in meetings, that's helpful, but it's not legal English. So stay with us. We will teach you real commercial legal English, and we will go on giving you an advantage over every other law student in your year at your university. Bye for now.